So
I
really,
put in chat my evaluation for you, Maurice.
All right, I got it.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, David. So really the only three club business that I have to go over before I pass it around the table here. So the Zoom meetings, as you see tonight, so we got our own link through the district account, and we have meetings scheduled every week up into the first week of September. So I think the 7th of September is our last meeting, but I'm going to keep in contact with Alicia, and we'll just re-up the meetings if we have to from there. So the login information that you guys have tonight with the password, it's going to be the same login information and password each week. And what I'll do is I'll just keep sending that same email out. But for some reason, if you delete the most current email, just try to dig back a little bit more and just use that same login information and it should work. Next, the meetings I have laid out from 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. So yes, our official Toastmaster meeting isn't till 6:45 till 7:45, but this allows us time to have club officer meetings or even discuss things like Diego was putting forth tonight with the computers and the speakers and everything. Can everybody still hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. And lastly, I'm still working on finding a spot to hold in-person meetings. I've contacted a couple places. I don't have anything hard and fast yet. So that still is on my radar, and I'll keep you guys posted as soon as I know something more.
Can I ask a question?
So that's all. Yeah, absolutely.
You reached out to the church and Satori Coffee House?
I haven't reached out to Satori, but I reached out to 2 different churches, and everything, especially in the local area, even the church that I go to is starting to really figure out if they're going to be able to, where they're going from here. And I'll be completely honest, I think out of everybody, I might be the one that wants to get back into the room the most, but listening to some of the briefs that I have to listen through at my job and seeing things, I do worry about people's safety right now. And I think the safest thing is to do what we're doing right now. And so that's one reason why I wasn't really hounding on it this week. I do feel it's safer to kind of sit back, do what we're doing, and we'll get the in-person meetings in time. But right now, I feel is a little would be kind of pushing it, and I don't think we really need to do that. That's just my personal opinion. But
I echo that sentiment.
Okay, good. So that's all the club business I have. I like to pass it around the room to anybody who has club business, officers, non-officers, it doesn't matter. Anybody wants to bring anything up? Now's the
Yes.
time to do it.
Yeah.
Luke.
Who is the
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Olivia.
I was just going to say, I missed all the club business. I missed everything. My laptop was having a fit, so I just logged back in with my phone. So I don't have any secretary notes on whatever was discussed, so I'll have to get it out the recording. Was there anything that I needed to know pertaining to this meeting right now? I know I did accept the role, or I am Toastmaster. That much I do know. Okay.
Yes, Olivia. And what I'll do is I'll type a couple things in a chat to you. Or when we get done with this, I'll just send you a quick text, or I can give you a call or anything.
That'll work.
It wasn't too much, but yeah, no, I'll definitely get you that information.
Okay.
Okay.
I have club business after Maurice.
Okay.
Okay.
Who is the area director this year?
Is that the? Hold on, just one second. So I have Kim Good as the District 77 director, and I will be inviting her to a meeting in the next coming weeks. I don't know if that's the area director, but Kim Good is the one that I do have a name and have been told to invite to a meeting.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the area director is the head of the, I think, four clubs or 3 clubs. He's either 3 or 4 clubs in this area. So the Hilltop,
gotcha.
Top Cats, the Bienville, and Downtown Club.
Do I need to contact them, Maurice? And
Well, they were
schedule
supposed to,
like a visit or anything?
well, they were supposed to contact you. So,
Okay.
I mean, if they're
Okay.
having one, I don't know if they're still struggling to get one or not. But they should have contacted you by now.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten any personal emails from the area director. I'll have to go back and find where I got this Kim Goods name from, but I feel like it was more of a mass email saying, hey, clubs, invite me for a visit. And that's one of the things I picked up. So, yeah, no, I'll keep my eye out for that email.
All right.
Okay, Diego?
My short club business to share with everyone is kind of echoing Luke's discussion earlier about in-person meetings. So one of my level 5 speeches I have to give is about assembling a team and announcing a project and then fulfilling that project goal. And the goal that I have in mind is purchasing a laptop for the group, a microphone, and potentially a loudspeaker for the group for this laptop, because hopefully in the future, when cases go down and people when leadership feels comfortable with doing in-person meetings, there can be a blended meetings option which permits people to Zoom into the meeting while there are still people in person at the meeting spot. And even after COVID is done, the laptop can still serve a great purpose for people who need to give PowerPoint presentations. And I wanted to make a motion, I suppose, on the floor to get a show of hands, seeing who supports also using club funds to purchase these laptop equipment. I understand the budget is around $1,200, and the maximum expenses would be no more than $400 to $500. With that information, I wanted to make a motion on the floor about holding a vote for allocating club funds for this purpose.
I'm definitely for it, Diego. So I'm for using club funds.
Okay, I suppose there's no resistance, so I guess that passes simple majority. Great. Okay. And while I have everyone's attention, if you are particularly computer savvy and you have a laptop model in mind that you would suggest, or a microphone or a loudspeaker, please feel free to email it to me. I will post in the email, in the group chat, my email that you can reach me at. That was all the club business I had to share. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Diego. Okay, does anybody else have any club business before we begin? Okay. So my video is hanging up for sure. So I hope you guys can still hear me okay, because I'm dialing in on my phone. So right now I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster of the evening, and that is Miss Olivia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Toastmaster meeting. I hope you guys all had a safe and lovely holiday weekend. And I am your Toastmaster for the evening. I'm sorry. Are you guys hearing me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I am your Toastmaster for the evening. So we've gone over our club business. So I would like to start the meeting with an invocation and pledge. Does anybody have an invocation they'd like to give? Or if not, we'll go straight into the pledge. If you would cross your heart, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. As your Toastmaster for this evening, I have the pleasure of going over our 3 parts of our meeting. The first part of the meeting we will have prepared speeches. And I think we have 2 prepared speeches for today. Is that right? Carrie and
Yep.
David? Yes, that's so exciting. I can't wait. And from there, we will go into our table topics portion, which is where we will have an opportunity to get some right off the cuff speeches, 1 to 2 minute speeches. And then from there, we will have our evaluation and education overview. So without any further ado, I'm sorry. I would like to have those roles explained. So let's see, who do we have today for our grammarian? And do we have a word of the day?
Thank you, Olivia. This is Diego. I'm serving the role as grammarian tonight. The grammarian's role is to maintain the importance of proper use of the English language. I know people can get nervous up on the lectern, but that's not a good excuse to lose, grammar and syntax in the English language. If anything, when you have the spotlight on you, it is most important for you to exercise great syntax and good grammar. And so that is my role. That's going to be one of my roles tonight, one of the purposes of the grammarian. The grammarian also has the pleasure of sharing the word of the day, which is bailiwick. I'll spell it out in the chat, but there is one definition that isn't law enforcement, which I think is more appropriate, which is the sphere in which one has superior knowledge or authority, a special domain. So think of it like expertise. And then apparently the law enforcement version of the word is the office or jurisdiction of a bailiff. So again, the word of the day is bailiwick, and think of it as like when you want to say the word expertise, like someone has great knowledge of a particular aspect. And Olivia, before I return the lectern back to you, I do have an invocation if you give me the opportunity to share it.
Absolutely, we'd love to hear it. Go ahead.
Okay, I came across this quote from Walt Disney, and the invocation that I want to share is, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing.
Wow, that's good.
That's my invocation, and I'm going to relinquish the lectern back to Olivia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The way to get started is to quit talking and start doing.
That's right.
Awesome. I just thought I'd jot that down. I'll put it in my notes. Okay, our next role that I would like to talk about is do we have a timer?
Hey, Olivia, it's Peter. Yes, I'll be the timer tonight.
Okay.
And the role of the timer is to remind the speaker how much time they have left. And we do that using different color codes. So for the main speeches tonight, when you have 2 minutes left, I'll do something that's green. And this is a green band, and I'll wave this. And then when you have 1 minute left, I'll do yellow, and it's this right here. And then when you have no time left, I'll do a red color like this. And for table topics, that'll be green when you have 1 minute left, 30 seconds when you have when yellow shows up, and then the red is time's out. And for evaluations, same thing. 1 minute left, I'll use the green. 30 seconds left, use the yellow, and then red is over.
All right, thank you very much for that. Let's see, we have our evaluators tonight. I'm sorry, before we go into that, let's talk about our table topics master. Who is our table topics master for tonight?
That'd be me.
Okay, thank you. And if you could explain that role for us, Kyler?
Yeah. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. I will be the table topics master for the evening, and my bailiwick, or my jurisdiction, will be to ask certain questions that are open-ended and will cause you to have to think on the spot. Just like we would in a situation with like if you were on an elevator and you're talking to your boss, or if you were met somebody in person and y'all just had a quick conversation. This just help you think on your feet. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's always my favorite. Next, what about our general evaluator for tonight?
All right, good evening, everybody. So I'll be the general evaluator. So my job is to just evaluate the meeting as a whole. But first, before I do that, I will call on our ever important evaluation team, such as our grammarian, our all counter, our timer, and our evaluators to evaluate the speeches. And then I will give my evaluation at the end of the meeting as a whole. And back to you, Olivia.
Thank you very much. And help me out. Do I go over the evaluation speeches? I'm sorry. Do I go over the speech evaluators?
Not typically, no.
Okay, I didn't think so. Okay. All right. Well, without any further ado, we would like to call up our first prepared speech to the lecture. And who is that going to be? Kira, are you going to go first, or will it be you, David?
I believe I was on the list for first.
All right.
Yep, it'll be David.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. It's all yours.
Good evening. The module that I have recently completed was called Understanding Vocal Variety. My speech title is Us versus Them. Us versus them. This has been driving me crazy. It hurts me. I want to understand whether we're talking about politics or religion or different cultures, sexual orientation, even sports. The divisiveness is insane. So I've just put on a pair of sunglasses. And now the world looks a little different to me because I'm looking at the world through lenses that are tinted. So everything looks a little yellowish and darker. This is an easy concept. What I didn't understand was that we also have lenses inside of us. And by lens, I mean the way our brains work, the way we interpret the world. There are two types of lenses. The first type is the learned variety. And this is an easy concept. Our experiences shape our beliefs. A good example is, say, PTSD. A soldier comes back from Afghanistan and he's walking down the street in America and he hears a car backfire and he just hits the ground because he's learned that loud noises can equal people dying and it's good to take cover. In Afghanistan. In America, not as much, but the brain has learned that. That's a lens that he has developed as a survival mechanism. Another type of lens is the hardwired variety. And this was a more difficult concept for me to understand. But I found two good examples to help explain it. In one example, they took a group of volunteers and hooked them up to what's known as a functional MRI. And what that is a machine that analyzes the brain and actually looks at the brain in real life and brain activity. And for each volunteer, they showed them just for 1/20th of a second, a brief fraction of a second, a picture of another person. And they measured the brain's response. When the person looked, say, if I was the volunteer, when the person looked like me, the brain reacted a certain way. Specifically, the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that recognizes threats, would activate. But when they showed a picture of someone that, say, looks different than myself, the amygdala activated again, but it activated much more strongly. The thing to remember here is that we're talking about 1/20th of a second. This is not enough time for the conscious thinking part of the brain to process this information. This is more just gut reaction. So does this mean we're all racist? Not really. The author goes on to explain that eons ago, people lived more in small communities, and you got to know and understand the people in your community. And when someone from outside came in, someone that looked different from them, it usually meant trouble. It meant they were being invaded. So the brain became hardwired to react in a negative way to people that look different. That has no application in today's society. In today's society, we travel all over the world. We interrelate with people of all varieties. But the brain still works that way. And her solution is something she called unothering in our thinking. It's raising the consciousness of our automatic responses, thinking about why we react a certain way, using the conscious part of our brain. In a second study, they took a group of students and they gave them questionnaires. And based on the students' answers, they divided them into two groups: students that had more liberal views and students that had more conservative views. The students with more liberal views, well, after this study was done, they took each student and they hooked them into an MRI and measured the structure of their brain. And they found that the students with more liberal views had what's known as larger anterior cingulate cortex. And that's a region of the brain that's involved with processing conflicting information. So maybe the students with more liberal views were a little bit more easygoing with conflict. The students with more conservative views had larger amygdalas, which, if you remember, is the region of the brain involved in recognizing threats. And these are all important parts of the brain. One's not better or worse than the other. They're all part of our survival and our ability to be human beings. So what does this mean? This isn't good or bad. It's not right or wrong, smart or dumb. It's just that we're all different. We all look at the world through lenses that are different. We cannot take off the lenses that are in our souls, but we can recognize that we are wearing them, and we can understand that we all view the world differently, and we can work to understand each other instead of condemning the other as wrong because my lens says this is the right answer. Work to understand each other. Mr. Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster, I always do that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that speech, us versus them, and the amygdala. I know a lot about the brain and the functions of the brain, but I guess I don't know anything about the amygdala. So I made myself a note to go do some more research on that. Thank you very much. We are all different. And I just want us to all be sensitive, like you say, just understand that everyone is different and that we do have different lenses. Okay, thank you so much for your speech, David. Now we're going to have Carrie, and I think the name of your speech is How to Connect with Your Audience.
Yes.
Okay, Carrie, you're up next. Thank you very much. Let's welcome her to the lectern, please.
Before starting, I would like to make sure what's today's word, Diego. Again, please, because I don't see in the chat box yet.
Bailiwick.
Bailiwick. I apologize for misspelling it. And it means the sphere in which one has superior knowledge or authority, or if you can think of a context for law enforcement, the office or jurisdiction of a bailiff.
Is that the noun?
It is a noun, yes.
Okay,
It is a
thank you.
noun.
That's all I have to know. Now I'm ready to use it. Okay.
Mhm.
Good evening, Toastmaster and members. Public speaking is a conversation between a speaker and audience, but not on one-way speech. Therefore, it's important to connect with the audience. Tonight, I'll discuss how to connect with your audience in your presentation. We all know I didn't grow up in the US. How to connect with the audience in public speaking is just as how I connect with people with a very different background from myself in my everyday life. I would like to share my techniques that I have developed through my learning experience. And I am bailiwick to make a quick connection with people. First, make a preparation. Before you make a speech, do homework. Do research on who you are going to speak to. That is, your audience's demographic background, such as gender, age, culture, subculture, education, occupation, audience, family form, residential area, political view, liberal or conservative, and so forth. Speak audience's language so that they will understand you. You may even change a topic based on their interest. Keep your mind flexible. Second, open up yourself first. If you want to connect with the audience, of course, you need to open up yourself first. You may talk about yourself with a smiley face and a comfortable, relaxing, and confident posture. And your audience would feel comfortable around you to open up themselves. Third, ask relevant questions. You do homework and you know who you are going to speak to. The first few minutes in your presentation are a warm-up time, just as basketball players warm up before a game. Based on the homework, ask relevant questions to your audience to know more about them. What are relevant questions? Relevant to your audience and your topic. For example, if you talk about family issues and most of your audience are women at age of 60s and higher, ask about the grandchildren. Ask about the grandchild, but not a child, grandchild. They will be happy to talk about it. The purpose of asking a question is to let your audience talk about themselves and open up themselves. And you know more about them as well. Fourth, make a reaction. After your audience answer your questions, don't forget the reaction to them. Exaggerate your reaction with an energetic voice. You are on the stage or in front of the group of people. The audience might not be able to see your normal reaction. Let's compare these two. A normal reaction. Really? I didn't know that. An exaggerated reaction. Really? I didn't know that. Another example. A normal reaction. Wow, did you do that? An exaggerated reaction. Wow, did you do that? You saw differences. Remember, your audience, your reaction is a reward for your audience for something they really want. So give them a reward, a big reward, meaning your exaggerated reaction. and make them happy. Fifth, talk to your audience, not speak to. Again, public speaking is not a one-way speech, but a conversation between a speaker and audience. Keep in mind, you talk to your audience, not speak to. Actually, an online meeting works well in this aspect because through the monitor, your viewer will feel like you directly and personally talk to himself or herself. Make sure you look at the camera, not the screen. However, when I look at the camera, talk to the camera, I feel like what I'm doing here. And I come to myself and it feels some stupid. Do you have the same feeling? A solution is to ask your audience or viewers to turn on the video so you can see them around. Those 5 techniques are helpful in both in-person presentations and online presentations. When you connect with your audience during your speech, your words and your message touch their heart and emotion. Connecting with your audience is a key to succeed your presentation. Back to Madame Toastmaster.
Oops. Bravo, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for your speech on connecting with your audience. I liked the thing about, well, I liked a lot of it. I took a lot of notes actually, but about looking at the camera and not at the screen. Do you know how hard that is to do that? Because just you're drawn to want to look at the screen, but you're right. I should be looking at the camera and not the screen. Anyway, I know our time is running short, but I would love to hear at least one table topic. So if we could please have Kyler come on up. And yeah, Kyler, you table topics master. Yes. And let's at least do one table topics for today.
Okay, so we're doing one table topic. I'm gonna go with, I had one that I thought was pretty good. Based on the situation we're in or we've been in for the past couple of months. And whoever wants to take this one can take it. Let me change my view so I can see everybody. Okay. Does technology make it easier or harder to be friends?
Can you say that one more time, Kyler?
Yeah. So during this time, we've all had to deal with this for the past couple of months. We've been communicating and connecting mostly through technology. So do you think that technology makes it easier or harder to be friends?
I can take a shot.
All right, Diego.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, the question posed was, does technology make friends, is it making friendship making process, is it making it easier? I don't consider myself a bailiwick when it comes to computer technology and social media and things like that. But I think it's conditional. I think technology can conditionally help someone increase friends. Because, for example, if you guys are familiar with Reddit, basically Reddit is a spot where if you think of a topic, you can join a group of people who are really fascinated about the same thing you're thinking about. Like, for example, for me, I like to go geocaching, which is an activity where you go and hunt for little treasures hidden across the globe. And this is a great example of the conditional aspect of technology bringing friends together, because I feel that having Reddit and having access to this geocaching community I'm thankful that I can connect and speak with people who are passionate about this. But I think the drawback is that technology can connect us with people who are located, millions upon millions of miles away from us. So even if let's say Kyler lives 500 miles away from me and he's just as passionate about geocaching as I am. Like, it's fantastic that we can be friends, but I really don't think he would be a real friend of mine unless I went out geocaching with him. And let's be honest, the logistics of 500-mile distance is impossible between us. There's no way we're ever going to meet up in person because of responsibilities and things like that. And for that reason, I think that technology can be a conditional facilitator for friendships. I think ultimately the criteria is that you have to be within close distance of each other, but it's great that we can connect and talk about the same things that we're passionate about. This is a great example of the point that I'm trying to make about, I think technology can conditionally increase friendships, but I don't think it can make, I really think that friendships really happen when people live in the same city. That is my 2 cents on this topic. I'm going to relinquish turn back to Kyler. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. I appreciate your well thought out response. That makes a lot of sense. Oftentimes, proximity is very strong when it comes to solidifying friendships. I think that's all the time we have for today's table topics. So I'm going to pass the lectern back to Olivia.
Thank you very much, Kyler and Diego. Thank you for your response. I have to admit, though, I disagree with you. I don't think that you have to be close at all. I have a very close friend who I've been friends with for about 14 years. About 14 years. Really way too long than I care to admit. And I have never met her. We are only friends online. And we are super close. We've posted met a couple times. Anyway, it's a long story, but we are very dear friends, and I've never met her. So I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. But anyway, nothing wrong with that. We're going to move right into our evaluation portion of the meeting. And I would like to call up our general evaluator to come on up and get us ready for the rest of our evaluation. So without any further ado, Luke, can you come on up?
Okay, thanks, Olivia. All right, so I'll be the general evaluator for tonight. Before I give the meeting evaluation, we'll go ahead and call on our evaluation team. So our first evaluator tonight is going to be Maurice, and he will be evaluating David's speech. Maurice?
Ooh, okay. Like Luke said, I'll be evaluating David's speech. It was entitled Us Versus Them. And let's see. I'll go over the general comments. The speaker excelled at explaining some of the processes of the brain receiving an image and then the corresponding reaction to receiving that image, and these different reactions, and particularly, I guess, an image that would, within a split second, even faster than your conscious brain can pick up, would make you feel threatened or some other way. And he presented the speech very good, very excellent. And to challenge himself, just continue growing through these different speech projects. I'm pretty sure in the future, these different speech projects will bring, different qualities out of you. Going to the evaluation form itself, some of the points. He had good projection. He was vibrant and dynamic. He had good pitch, full pitch. His voice quality, he had good voice quality. He was mellow and comfortable, enthusiastic and engaging. He had clear articulation and correct pronunciation. He had effective use of pauses, smooth timing, fluent timing, varied timing, deliberate timing. He conveyed the emotions well. He was genial and natural. So these are the evaluation traits of his speech. And I would like to relinquish the lectern back to the general evaluator.
Okay, thanks, Maurice. I appreciate that. Moving on to our next evaluation, and our next evaluator is going to be Cheyenne, and Cheyenne is going to be evaluating Carrie's speech tonight. Cheyenne?
Hello, everyone. I am evaluating Carrie's speech about how to keep your audience engaged when speaking. Carrie, I have to say I think this is the best speech you've given. You did amazing. Every part of it was great. Like, I know it wouldn't be constructive to give you 5s all the way down the line, but you're definitely there. You did so great. This is by far the best speech I've heard, in my opinion, since we've been together at Toastmasters. You excelled at so much, but I'll start with the vocal variety. You did such a great job. A couple examples when you said, if you want to open up with your audience, of course, and you kind of reeled us back in by changing your voice, saying, of course, and then when you said, when you're talking about playing to your crowd, saying grandchildren, not kids, or not just kids or children. That was great. You changed your voice. You kept it interesting. I was like Olivia said, I was learning. I had to remember I was evaluating because I was just like so interested in what you were saying. And you did a great job when you were talking about exaggerating your reaction, and you said that with an exaggeration just to kind of hone in what you were saying. You did a fantastic job. And like I said, you did great on everything. You did really good with the gestures. Even though we have our screen, I could still see your hands moving, which is something I need to work on when I do speeches. I do my gestures but down here, but you made sure they were visible. You did audience awareness. You noticed there wasn't any new people in our chat room. So you said, as you guys know, I am confident if there had been some new people, you probably would have said, just to let you guys know, because they wouldn't have known that about you like we do. So that was awesome. You seemed very comfortable, as always. Like I said, very interesting. And I'm just to be honest, I couldn't think of anything you need to work on. Like this was like a great speech. If anyone has any suggestions, you can email them to me because I can't think of anything. You did so great. So that is all for my evaluation. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Cheyenne, and thanks for the very thorough evaluation. So moving on with our evaluation team, next I would like to call on our grammarian and our all counter for a report tonight, and that will be Diego.
Thank you, Luke. And thank you everyone for your attention tonight for the grammarian and the odd counter report. For the grammarian report, I have good news. I did not notice any flagrant misuse of the English language. So it's good that if any nerves are being felt, it's not to the point where people are misusing the English language or sacrificing syntax, which is good. As for the odd counter, I've recognized that during my table topics, I said so once in an odd counter fashion, and I did not count anyone else using filler words. So that is excellent work on everyone's part tonight. That is the grammarian on the odd counter report. Back to you, Luke. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Diego. And next on the evaluation team, we have our timer, and we'll get our report from Peter.
Thanks, Luke. So for timing today, we started at 6:49 p.m. The first speech by David was within time, 6 minutes and 53 seconds. The second speech by Carrie was within time, 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Table topics, Diego had 2 minutes and 33 seconds, so over 33 seconds. The first evaluation by Maurice was 2 minutes and 40 seconds within time, and the second evaluation by Cheyenne is 2 minutes and 19 seconds within the time. Thank you, and I'll hand it back to you, Luke.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. And thanks for stepping into that role last minute there. So now that our evaluation team has gone, I will give just the general evaluation of the meeting overall. And as Peter said, we started at 6:49 tonight, so 4 minutes late. No big deal there. We were shuffling around the agenda a little bit. We had 2 great speeches. David, I really enjoyed your speech. It was passionate, it was meaningful, it was thoughtful, and it was relevant. And I appreciate you putting that together, and I truly enjoyed listening to it tonight. Carrie, your speech, just like Cheyenne said, I loved your speech too. Anytime we can get information on connecting with our audience and becoming a better speaker, because that's why we're here, is great information. And especially doing the virtual online world right now, connecting with our audience is, in my mind, even more important because we don't have that personal interaction. So I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed your speech as well. Table topics, we only had 1 tonight, and I'll be honest, that kind of does bother me a little bit. I think table topics is a very important time for impromptu speaking. In fact, it's one of the things that I struggle with, and I tend to shy away from table topics, if I'm honest. And so I would really like to hopefully start the meetings a little bit more on time. And I know I've had a lot of club business to pass, and I do apologize about that, but I'm just trying to get the information out to you guys. And so hopefully if we're starting on time, I'll try to trim down the club business, and hopefully we can kind of open up that section again, because I think it's a truly important section for everybody. And with that, that is my general evaluation, and I will turn it back over to Madam Toastmaster.
Sorry, I was talking on mute there. Thank you very much for your evaluation and for all of the reports that were turned in. We appreciate that. And Luke, I must agree with you. Well, Cheyenne, let me start with you first. Yeah, I agree with you about that about Carrie's speech. It was phenomenal. David, yours was good as well, and it is an eye-opening topic that we all just need to be more aware of and be sensitive to. But Carrie, I really truly enjoyed your speech. And Luke, I was thinking the same thing about the time being cut short for the prepared speech. I'm sorry, for the table topic speech. So hopefully we can start our meetings more on time and get back to taking advantage of that. Do we have a education overview tonight?
So we do not have an education overview. I did sign myself up for it, but I did not complete one. But Diego is, I think, going to take this time to talk to us a little bit more about his Pathways project.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Diego. Thank you. Let's welcome him up to the lectern, please.
Oh, thank you, Luke. And thank you, Olivia, for this time to share a little bit more about the project that I have in mind. So again, just to reiterate for everyone's benefit, I was thinking, and I do have support of the leadership, thankfully, about purchasing a laptop for the club to help with, as well as a microphone and potentially speakers as well. So when we switch to blended meetings, people who still feel comfortable and want to continue practicing the in-person experience of Toastmasters, they can come to the meeting spot. But people who say live with vulnerable family members or just still don't feel comfortable coming in person to a meeting, the laptop will be their medium to participate in the in-person meetings. And hopefully right now we're eyeing to purchase this item on the tax-free weekend, which is, I understand, July 16th. So mark that on your calendars as well if you're looking to make an investment. That's probably the timeline, hopefully, that we'll be able to purchase the device. And I'm planning on giving hopefully I'll give a more in-depth speech about this for my level 5 pathway speech, which is about announcing the goal and what we have in mind for accomplishing it. That's all the time that I would like to share about this topic matter. I'm going to relinquish the lecture back to Olivia, our Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Diego. And I didn't hear anyone that said they didn't agree with Diego's plan. So if you do, or you don't want to speak about it right now, and you prefer to just email him or President Luke or myself as a secretary, then feel free to do so. But unless someone speaks up soon, we're going to consider that a done deal. It sounds like a great idea to me, Diego, and our president also concurred. So I think we're all on board for it. And we look forward to, I heard you say level 5. My jaw dropped. That is so amazing. I'm so proud of you, and I need to catch up because I got a lot of speeches in my bank. I just need to start spilling them out. And don't speak to your audience. Talk to your audience and know your audience. Thank you very much, Carrie, for that. Okay, guys, do we have anything else before we adjourn this meeting or before we start talking about our roles for next week? Is that it? That it? Okay, Mr. President Luke, I'm going to turn this back over to you. Luke, are you there?
I think he's having some trouble with his audio. Last I looked on Easy Speak, I did not see anybody signed up for next week to speak. Did we have anybody here that's wanting to speak next week?
I'm going to take
I volunteer.
Oh, and I'll volunteer as well.
Okay, so we have Diego and for next week. You can sign up or request through Easy Speak, or I can assign you.
I will request through Easy Speak, David, on my part.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So Olivia and Diego, that's good then.
Yeah. And I see Luke is trying to connect his audio. So Luke, if you want to put something in the chat, we can read it. If you can't, if you can't speak to us.
I did have one other thing briefly. On Carrie's module, she's on level 3, and the next thing she's going to be doing is it's called reaching a consensus, and it says that it takes 20 minutes. Like she involves a group in a discussion and tries to create a consensus on a particular topic. Have we run into that before? Like how would we deal with that within the time constraints of the meeting?
I know before. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Olivia, and then I'll speak.
No, I was just going to say that I know before when I first started, I was reading over some of those type of things and I was asking, I don't know if it may have been Lawrence or whomever, but that doesn't have to occur here at Toastmasters, David. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, Diego. You just have to come and give your results or show some proof that you've done it. Is that right, Diego?
Oh, I wasn't going to mention that. I don't know anything about that. I was going to mention that I think Maurice or someone else has done like one of those level 4, level 3 speeches that involve 10 to 15 minute speeches. And I think the agenda still accounts for that. I think it still adjusts the agenda and accounts for that. If anything, that just further demonstrates the importance that we start at 6:45 and we make sure that at least the people who are committed to do a meeting role are on Zoom at the latest 6:40, out of respect for the people who are putting in all the work and sharing their time and talents with us on doing a prepared speech. So if anything, that only further demonstrates the importance of us starting on time, or at least having all the meeting roles confirmed and people present at the meeting at 6:40.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. We'll look into that. Yeah, if she could do it outside the meeting and give the results or whatnot, that would be perfect. So, I think Luke was asking for Olivia.
I got it.
Oh, he's back.
Oh.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me
Woo!
okay?
Yes.
Sorry. I don't know, the phone call just dropped, but we got horrible weather here right now. So
Oh, no.
a storm just passed and I don't know what's going on, but I'm sorry I missed a lot. Are we about to wrap up?
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. I don't have anything else to really pass. I thought we had a great meeting. I am going to reach out personally to some of the members that have not been showing up, who have just been absent for a little bit. Instead of sending the generic email, hey, we got a meeting tonight, please join, I'm going to try to email them personally, and hopefully we can get them back in the meeting. But I'm going to have to run. I'm on duty, and I'm getting a phone call from work. And
Okay.
I had a great meeting, guys. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank
Luke,
you, and thank you for your service.
I'm out the next 2 weeks,
Bye.
FYI.
Oh, okay. Peter, you're out the next 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay. I'll make a note of that too. I'll
Okay,
let Luke know.
okay.
Or you can email him yourself, actually. Just give him an email. Do you have his email address?
I think I might have it, yeah.
You can also Easy Speak. You can list yourself as not attending on the meeting if you've been on Easy Speak.
Okay, is it Luke Green?
Yeah, I think that's what I have. It always pops up when I try to email him. But what's your email address, Peter?
It's